it's been a real positive.
Yeah. Have you guys had anybody enter the transfer portal? I guess it's into the spring.
No, we haven't. And of course, anything can happen. I've had 109 meetings, and I've got about 7 left, I think. So I love the vibe of this team. I love the chemistry of this team, and don't anticipate losing anyone. But again, you never know in this day and age.
Yeah. You talked about center and the interior offensive line being the one position you would pursue in the transfer portal. I guess with what you've seen from Will with Putnam at center, does that have you seen enough to change your opinion on that?
Well, not just him. I mean, really everybody. I mean, we have 14 linemen. We try to always have 15. That's kind of our number, if you will. We try to have. You have to have a number at every position. You can't just go sign 30 linemen, and because then you're not going to have this and that. So you have a way we manage the roster, and we've always done it that way. But I'm in a whole different state of mind right now than I was going in spring ball, and not just Will. I mean, obviously him. He'd never done it, but now we've seen him, and man, I'm super excited about him. And I knew he would take to it, but just until you see it, Linthicum. I mean, we've got 4 veteran guys that we know can all play, and Parks and J Mac and Putnam and Trotter. Even though Trotter's going to miss some time, all 4 of those guys can play. Yeah. And we're excited about the experience they bring. But the biggest comfort that we have is what we saw out of those 5 sophomores and 5 freshmen. Yeah. Marcus Tate and the experience he got, and then that group of redshirt sophomores all made a move. And this time last year, I really didn't see that as they were going into their redshirt freshman year. But now Mitchell Mays and Trent Howard and Brian Tucker and Big John Williams, those guys all made a move. And then the 5 freshmen, I mean, we hit on all those guys. Tristan Lee, Linthicum, Dietrich Pennington, Blake Miller, Colin Sadler, all of those guys can play. And again, coming out of spring, I can say that now. You don't ever know. But Colin Sadler and Blake Miller, they have to, and Dietrich Pennington, I think they could compete to be starters. Yeah. And Tristan and the improvement, he's one of the most improved on our team coming off his redshirt year. Same thing with Linthicum. So, we offered 2 guys. We offered 2 kids in the portal, and we just didn't get either one of them. Okay. They both went to other places. And that was to this point, that's the only 2 kids that we feel like were the right fit for us. Mm-hmm. So, we know specifically what we're looking for, and if that's not available, then we're gonna roll with what we got. Yeah, but we love the kids that we have, and every and I've not been able to say this, but all 14 of the guys that we have on scholarship at some point have the ability to be a starter for us or a very significant contributor. So I haven't always been able to say that, but I'm very, very encouraged about the personnel that we have there, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, are you looking for a center specifically? Is that
we would look at an interior guy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a center. I'd like to have a guy, but with what we saw with Putnam, and the versatility that we have with a guy like Blake, J Max working at snapping as well. So we've got some answers there. But if there was an interior guy, like I said, we're not looking for a sophomore. Yeah. We're not looking for a freshman. We're looking for a guy that's a senior, that's exactly like what we offered is what we're looking for. That's the right fit. That's got a starter experience and those type of things. If that fit our program and fit our locker room, then we would consider that. But that's not out there right now for us. Right. Outside of the 2 that we offered and didn't get. Yeah. But today's Wednesday. You never know what's going to happen between now and May. So, but again, we're not going to just take a kid to take kid. If I felt like the kids we missed on some of them, it would be different. Right. But we hadn't missed on any of those guys. Mm-hmm. Every single one of these guys that we've signed, all 14 guys that we have on scholarship, again, they're all at different stages, but they're all, unless they get hurt, they're going to be starters for us at some point, are really significant contributors. And that is a really good spot to be in that offensive line.
So what did you see from Will specifically this spring to let you know he's ready at center? He could do.
Well, he's so knowledgeable. First of all, he has complete ownership of the offense. He can make all the calls. He's got great command of the protections. I mean, he's just played a lot of football.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing we saw was his ability to make the snaps consistently. I mean, it was rare that we had a bad snap. I mean, it was about one a day. And you're talking about a guy that's never snapped. It's not like he snapped in high school. I mean, he's never snapped. And so it was awesome. And he's an unbelievably committed guy. And he's gonna. You just know whatever Will Putnam does, he's going to go above and beyond. Mm-hmm. And so, what we saw out of him, what we saw out of Linthicum, what we saw out of Trent, those three guys, have the ability to do it. And then what we saw out of Big Blake and Colin, Dietrich Pennington, I think could have been a starter for us last year. Getting him back, getting Big John back, the improvement of Mitchell, all those guys. We've been cross-training some guys at center that has given us a little bit more comfort.
Dabo, one of the things you've changed this year is you're now going to allow some official visitors in June. Talk a little bit about changing that process, because I know in the past you haven't done that.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing we've changed is just not doing spring visits, and we're still not doing that. But we're going to do one. Last year, and really it's kind of because of COVID and all that stuff and the way things happen, we did the elite retreat last year as a part of our camp. And it was really good, and we've already got some committed kids. Anticipate probably having a few more between now and that first weekend in June. But some of the guys, and the way we've kind of restructured our camps just a little bit. So we've taken that one weekend, and we've had a lot of guys come here. So it's only going to be for kids who've been on campus. So we really haven't changed that part of it. So the only guys that are going to be coming in on an official visit will be, people who've been to Clemson at some point since whether it be a game last year, they came this spring, or they were in our camp, and we've got camps coming up. So that part of it, the actual official visit part will be a little different. Last year with the elite retreat, it was pretty much like an official. It just was they came on their own. And so, again, all these kids have already been here on their own. So I think it'll be a really, really good weekend for us and give us good momentum coming out, going into camps, coming out of camps, going into the dead period in the summer. And a lot of these kids want to get it out of the way. They want to make their decisions. And so, that's been, I think, a good change for us.
Gentlemen, I hate to tell you this, but I need to get him to